Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Backlot Banter. My name is Tucker Hazel, and today I am joined by my co-host, Taryn Dykstra, who reminds me of Jared Leto in many, many ways. And today we're here to talk about
No,
Tron
oh no,
Ares.
come on, come
God,
on.
it's
That's
Tron Ares
Tucker.
time, Tim.
That is maybe the meanest intro you've ever given me. It just
And
maybe
usually
is.
they're insults. So,
And usually they are usually insults, so that's saying something.
today we're here to talk about Tron Ares, a movie starring Jared Leto, and as well
Yes,
as Greta Lee. And it's a legacy sequel from Disney. Can you believe it?
true.
We're out
No,
here.
a legacy sequel that is a follow-up to the movie that arguably invented the form of
Yeah,
legacy
maybe,
sequels.
maybe. But we're here to give you our thoughts on this film. But of course, if you want to talk to us directly about Tron Ares, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section or join our Discord server, which has a link in the description. But Tanner,
Yes.
you, your mind is brimming with thoughts and theories
Mm-hmm.
and discussion points
Oh,
about Tron
yeah.
Ares.
Yeah.
Let's open the floodgates, open the spigot, and let's let
Uh-huh.
it all pour out.
TronAres.exe is opening in my mind right now, buddy. Tucker, this is a movie that sucks. This is not a good film. I did not enjoy most or nearly all of what was happening in Tron Ares.
Yeah.
I think it's a quite dull follow-up to what are, your opinions vary on Tron and Tron Legacy, I
Yeah.
would say. But I think pretty inarguably they are at least visually spectacular movies that are quite imaginative in their world building and things of that
hmm
nature. I think those are kind of undeniable points. And Tron Ares does not follow in those footsteps. It really
I
dumbs
would say
down
in
anything.
some way it's visually spectacular. Like the effects are good.
The effects are good, but
Yeah,
but
it's an
here's my thing.
expensive movie.
It's $200 million expensive. But it dumbs down everything that is cool or interesting about like the grid and programs, like living programs that exist within them, or the world of Tron in general. I think it really drops the ball on anything that kind of worked in Tron or more recently Tron Legacy. Two movies that I watched for the first time quite recently in the lead up to this film, which really only hindered my experience with Tron Legacy, I think.
Well, I'm going to come at it from an opposite perspective is that
Okay.
usually when I'm coming to a movie like this, I like
Yeah.
to do my homework.
Right.
In
Right.
almost every case of a legacy sequel or a new entry in a series, you and I have gone back and we've watched all the
Hmm.
movies in preparation. And this time I was like, I've seen Tron. I saw it a long time ago and I
Yeah.
didn't really care for it when I saw it. And
Yeah.
I've heard things about Tron Legacy that I don't know where I would fall. I haven't seen it yet.
Fair. Yeah.
But I did no preparation. And I realized as I was going into Tron Ares that I know dick all about Tron. I'm like, yeah, they ride bikes and like there's something
They
digital
do
about
ride
it.
bikes.
I
Hmm.
think it was a video game, the first one. Jeff Bridges, like I've
Hmm.
got these vague things, and,
Ideas. Yeah.
and that seems to be what the movie is also working on.
It's what it's
Tron Ares
operating on.
it is
Hmm.
just like you kind of remember digital stuff, Jeff Bridges, like it's
Yeah. There's
not.
something with a company in video games or something.
Yeah, and so I was surprised by this movie is equal parts very concerned with the legacy of this series and that it keeps calling back to it. You got the original graphics, you get your Jeff Bridges, you got all
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
They've got all the all the I guess maybe recreation props from the first movie in like a glass box, like,
Yes.
oh
Yes.
look, it's the old stuff.
It's Flynn's office.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
But it also is just like it's just an action movie. And I think what you brought up, and is what's so disappointing about this movie, it's not the worst part of this movie, but it's so disappointing about
Mhm.
this movie, is that the world building of Tron Ares is just, it's half a paper thin. Is that
Yeah.
the digital world exists, and uh, programs that look like people can do action sequences in it, okay? That
Yeah.
is where that stops. There is
Yeah.
no place, there's no culture, there's nothing to the digital world, or the grid, I guess it's called. This movie just does no developing of its own ideas, and the only step it goes further is that you can now bring it into the real world. And Tanner, guess what? That's where
Mm.
that stops as well. It never
Yeah.
goes any deeper to developing its sci-fi concepts other than digital world exists and it can now be brought to the human world. And
Mhm.
I was just waiting for the other shooter drops. Like, where's the reveal? Where are we going to learn a little bit more about this? And it never comes.
No. I think it really comes down to a failure of scripting and direction, which are kind of like the two big things in movies ultimately. I mean, this is directed by Joachim Roning, who Disney basically just trots out every few years to direct some corporate slop sequel that they want to make. He's the great creative mind behind such hits as Pirates of the Caribbean. What was the most recent one? What's the
I've never
2017
seen a
one?
single one of them, so I don't know.
Not Dead Men
World,
Tell No Tales.
yeah,
I think is that. Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah. Dead Men Tell No Tales. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, Tron Ares, and then last year's Young Woman in the Sea, which I actually didn't think it was that bad, but a very different type
Okay.
of movie than
Yeah,
those
yeah,
first
yeah,
three I mentioned. Yeah, and there's just like no vision here. It feels like there's no like impetus for like okay, and so what? What's the movie about? What's it
yeah,
saying? Like I mean, I guess it is coming out in a sort of prescient moment where it's like the movie is quote unquote about AI in that
yeah,
it has AI characters
yeah.
in it.
It has,
Jared Leto is playing an AI.
yeah, um, and that's his whole character. And
Is
Tanner,
that Tucker? He kind of wants to become human. Is that his
well,
deal, or he wants to like learn about humanity?
he wants to have the fucking permanence upgrade or whatever.
That's right. He
Or
wants to be a
Tanner,
real boy.
hmm, and some might call it the impermanence upgrade.
Whoa, hang on a second, Tucker. That's pretty
A
clever. You should
wise
say
man
that
once
four
told me
times in the
that.
movie.
A wise man once told me that 6 minutes
Hmm.
ago, screen time wise. God. So I think the most disappointing part about it for me is what I said, is
Yeah.
that it has no sense of identity for its own sci-fi world building, which, to be clear, why I find that disappointing is I do think that introducing crossing over digital to the real world and this kind of stuff is a totally reasonable idea. An interesting continuation of it, kind of an inversion of digitizing people. Like, sure,
Hmm.
go for it. But the fact that they don't go any deeper than that just made this a complete snooze fest for me. And that's
Yeah.
built on top of where the real actual issue of this movie is, Tanner, is that these
Hmm.
characters suck. They
They
suck
are
so bad.
they're
I don't think
so
there's one
boring.
good character in this movie. Even Greta
Dude.
Lee, who I like, I'm like,
Mm.
you are given nothing to work with. You're so
They are
boring.
at best boring and at worst actively detrimental to my enjoyment of the film. Actively detrimental to me wanting to view it with my eyes and hear it with my ears. There's a couple characters who fill out that criteria actually. You're muted, what'd you say? Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
sorry, sorry.
You good?
My
You good?
brother's game. My brother's playing Space Paranoids in the other room,
Whoa, what?
and I keep having to mute it because going, oh, whoa, whoa. But um, who do we start with? Tanner,
I mean,
who's the
yeah.
worst offender?
Of that stuff, I mean, it's a very minor character, but it's probably who is it? Arturo Castro as Seth. Yes.
Yeah,
He's a very minor character, but I just have to pick on him. I'm sorry,
I,
just for a
I
little
agree.
bit.
I'll do the same.
It is like
Tanner, you take
it
one
is
leg,
a
I'll take the other. His head goes straight into the toilet and press flush.
listen, I guess maybe I've seen this guy in what else has he been in? Because I don't do I want to like blame this guy wholeheartedly, but he always plays this kind of character in
Sure.
movies. Now he's in The Menu, he's in Roadhouse. Like I think it might be like a studio thing. They're typecasting him as
Yeah,
this or whatever. But like he is the quintessential annoying quippy sidekick.
yeah.
Like that
But
is all he
he
does,
serves he serves no purpose in the
yeah.
narrative other than to have someone for a main character played by Greta Lee to talk to. And when he showed up, I'm like, what's this guy's deal? What's their relationship?
Relationship.
What's going on here? And when the movie tries to do anything dramatic with him, it totally falls flat. And I completely agree. I think his lines. So you get a little montagey setupy thing at the beginning,
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then we're introduced to Ares, and we're
Yep.
lightly introduced to Evan Peters' character, who I can't remember
Yep.
the name of. And
Julian Dellinger.
oh, Derringer Tanner,
Is it Dellinger? I thought it was
uh,
maybe Dillinger.
Dillinger. I think it's
It
Dellinger.
is Dillinger.
Okay.
Dillinger.
We got there in the end. Um,
Yeah.
we're introduced to them, and then we get Greta Lee in the mountains, and you're like, what the fuck's kind of
Yep.
happening here? And then he shows up, and the moment that he started talking and delivering what this movie considers to be jokes, I was like, oh no. Oh
Yeah,
man.
this
Oh,
bad
oh,
is
is this the
bad
tone we're
news.
going for
He's
here?
like, womp womp, I like breakfast burritos. Womp womp. And I was like, oh fuck me. You've got to be kidding me. This fucking guy, are you serious? And he's like, oh, and then I mean, then we're in the way. I mean, he kind of disappears, thankfully, for large stretches of the movie, but then he'll pop up when the other like side characters pop up, and he's like, what the flip is going on here? This is crazy. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Oh my
Yeah, yeah.
god.
He's
Yeah.
really bad. Thankfully, though, he's a side character. He's in a
Yes.
fraction of the film. That doesn't excuse it. It's still a annoying and I think rather poorly written character. But
Yeah.
okay, plenty of annoying side characters in movies. The real
Mhm.
problem is that the protagonist of the film is not compelling, and the antagonist of the film is especially not compelling.
Oh
Tanner,
no. No,
Evan
no, no,
Peters
yeah.
is in like 4 minutes of this fucking movie, and he never
Uh-huh.
does anything. He never does a
Yeah.
single thing. He's in his office
No,
the entire movie. He's
he
in,
tippy taps on
he
on
goes,
his keyboard, Tucker.
he
He
does this,
loves tippy tapping on that
and then
keyboard.
he loves to slam his finger on the enter key on the like
Ha!
glass
Uh,
screen keyboard that he's got on this giant rich man desk. He goes boom, he puts his fucking finger
uh-huh.
on it, and I'm like, oh god. But what's this guy's deal? What's his
Uh-huh.
motivation?
He
He wants money. He wants power. He's going to use the digital world, and he wants the
So
thing
he
to
wants to
make
create like
war.
a yeah, he wants to like basically be able to
Oh
3D
Jesus!
print an army out of the grid. He wants to
Yeah,
3D print his tanks and soldiers out of the grid to be sold to the military industrial complex. I'm
yeah,
like, okay, fair enough. That's what a bad guy would do, honestly.
yeah.
But the conflict of the movie, the MacGuffin of this movie is the permanence code or the impermanence code, perhaps
Whoa!
it could be
A
called.
wise man once
Uh,
told me that.
Wise man told me that about 6 minutes ago, actually, in this video. Um, and he can't, the Griddly finds it in a fucking computer from the 80s in the Rocky Mountains or whatever. Or no, it's in Alaska. That's where
It
it
is in
is.
Alaska. Yeah, doesn't
Um,
matter.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But that's basically allows the construct from the grid to stick around in the real world for more than half an hour.
Yeah,
That is the sticking point of their 3D printed army. Sort of a recurring sort of point of conflict for the film in general is that Jared Leto will disappear after half an hour, or
yeah,
Jodie Turner Smith, or the bikes, or the planes, or the
yeah.
tanks, or whatever. They
It,
disappear after
yeah,
half an hour.
and that is the deepest this movie's world building goes. That concept, the ticking clock, how that
Mhm.
impacts the action and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's a rule that you can work with. But I don't know if it's a particularly interesting rule because
Kind of a bad screenwriting
yeah,
boot to put yourself in because it basically just means it's a screaming crutch at the end of the day where it's like I don't know, the action sequences can just end with that. Like we don't have to off ramp or anything like that. Like
yeah.
the conflict literally evaporates before your eyes.
What it means is that these digital characters entering the real world are ostensibly invincible, and
Hmm.
but they time out and then they can just be printed again. And so there's
Hmm.
like it's an unstoppable force kind of thing, which I think is fine. I think that's an
Sure.
okay idea. But the way that it's implemented in this movie is like it's just never used for anything particularly compelling. And then especially in the one moment where that is like some tension where
Hmm.
Ares is about to time out and Athena's like
Yeah, yeah,
floating
yeah.
there and then he dives to the thing. Why? Why did he do that?
Was he going to? Yeah. What was his plan?
I thought
To
he was
what?
gonna tackle her and take them both there so that she
I
would
don't.
because he was like being heroic. He was like
Yeah.
stopping her, but then he
Is
it
that
doesn't.
how that works? I don't think it's how that works because people are always like holding a grid character as they like evaporate. I don't think that's how that
No,
works.
but he's got digitized back into
Oh
the
yeah,
80s the moment that
but
he
he didn't
was.
know he didn't know that was happening though. Because
Yeah,
he
he did.
says he says change of plans and then he dives out the window.
I don't know,
Maybe
man. That
maybe he
moment's really
yeah
stupid and feels like it
yeah
doesn't
yeah
make
yeah.
any sense.
Hmm.
But yeah, so uh, Dillinger is he's just a really boring villain.
Gillian Gillian Anderson is also there. She's his mom, and she's like, "Hey, you should stop." She like stop being evil. What is her motivation in this movie? She's like, "It's good that you're evil, but you should be evil in a more smart way." And he's like, "Shut up, mom. I run the company."
I mean, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no. this movie totally skips the step of introducing you to its characters and world.
Hmm.
And you're left just scrambling as the movie has gone on outside of very ham-fisted backstory sequences for Greta Lee's character, in
Yeah.
which Ares just tells her what her history is.
Oh my god, that is maybe underrated, but perhaps the worst moment of writing this entire movie is when they're sitting in the car and he's like, "Here's everything here's your fucking psychology, and here's why you're sad about things." And she's like, "Huh, that is why I'm sad about things. That is exactly what my
Yeah,
character is. That is not how you should write your fucking movie. What the fuck are we doing?"
and then she just looks over at him and smiles. Because Tanner, here's what this movie
Hmm.
is ultimately about. And I'm gonna forget all this in just a couple days, so I don't have to really worry about it. But
Right.
it's about Greta Lee falling in love with an AI, kind of. But
Is
like,
are they in love like that? That seems to be a subject that the movie is almost afraid to broach a little bit. It's
yeah.
like, yeah, there's maybe romantic chemistry at some points, but oh wait a second, maybe that might be a little bit too much of a sticky wicket for us to broach at this point.
But he's a real boy now, so it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but that dynamic, because Evan Peters is barely in the movie, and when he is,
Yeah,
he's a nothing presence. He barely does anything. It's all about the things that his lasers make that is
yeah.
offer any action or tension or any particular
Hmm.
momentum to the story. Um, Greta Lee also. This is my problem with her character. I
Okay.
can't tell where the line is of like how skilled or heroic or whatever she is, because at the end of the day she's a person, she's a nerd, these things, she's a
Hmm.
CEO, like there are these things that are kind of set up, but then she's like super badass as well, and she's like riding around
Yeah,
on a motorcycle, and she's like
yeah.
setting up these like ostensibly traps to like deflect these characters. I'm like,
Hmm.
how did you learn any of this? Who are you? Where did these skills come from? Well, like, why are you willing to like sacrifice yourself? It's like, if the reason is because you're, maybe her sister would have done it. Like, there's just all this
Okay,
vague
so
characterization of her that I
uh-huh.
can't tell what kind of
Yeah,
character she's
she
really
is
supposed to be.
ultimately not a character unto herself. She exists as like a walking like embodiment of being sad that her sister died.
Yes, and a walking embodiment of the MacGuffin, because
Yeah.
she has the thing on her that is the permanence code, and then
Yeah.
she destroys it, and it's like, well,
Breaks it.
then they need her to get the permanence code.
Yeah, is that she saw
she
the
she
code at some
becomes the
point.
MacGuffin, and
Yeah,
it's
she
like,
does.
that's not that's not that interesting.
No. And like what is how does she change? What does she learn at the end of the movie? What does she learn? They do have a conversation in the street after Jared Leto defeats Jodie Turner Smith where they're like uh because again it all ties back to her sister who we only see in like phone video or
Yeah,
whatever. And like Greta Lee is perhaps they were maybe going to do a thing where they like bring her sister back
I
with
totally
AI.
thought that was gonna happen. Yeah,
I thought they were going to do that too.
Tanner, that's for the third one.
Thankfully,
That's for Ares 3.
or maybe it could have been like a cut plot line from this movie because maybe that's a little bit unsavory at this point now. Um, but no, I guess it's about like how you should be how being human is impermanence. I think that's it. Being human is impermanence. You know.
Yeah, that's the message of the movie, and
Yeah.
that's what Greta Lee kind of learns, because she learns to be okay with the death of her sister because it
Hmm.
contributed to something to make the world better.
I'll be honest, she seems pretty okay with it for most of the movie. She doesn't seem
That
especially
is true.
dysfunctional. As you mentioned, she's incredibly capable.
Yeah, but Tanner, I don't know. My eagle eye caught this. How long ago do you
Hmm.
think your sister died based on that characterization? Because I know
I
the
mean,
answer.
do you know the answer? I mean,
Yes,
was it like a year ago?
not even that year, because there's like a
Oh,
little like in memoriam thing of her, and it says whatever year she was
oh,
born
to
in to
2020, 88 to
2025.
20. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I'm
you're
like,
right.
this. So I mean, based off of the very loose, I don't know when in the year this would have
Hmm.
taken place. At least less than a year ago. Or at best less than a year ago. At worst, like a couple months ago.
Hmm.
And you're right. It isn't unless it is like specifically brought up by another character that it's like impacts her at all. It's
Yeah.
just this weird thing where the only, as you're saying, the only point of her character is to reflect on what she's lost.
Yeah. Um, I want to rag on Jared Leto here for a little bit. We've hit basically everybody else in the movie. So
Give me his nuts.
yeah, exactly. Um, he is the way he performs. Obviously, Jared Leto is a punching bag justifiably for the internet at this point, and people he is not good in this movie. Let me start there. But I think the thing that frustrates me most, and it's about his performance and also about the movie broadly and how it is conceived. They pitch these AI grid characters, these programs, as like oh, I don't understand human emotion. What is rain? What is car? What is sadness? Or whatever. Like, that is how they operate for the first half of the movie. But then, Jared Leto just suddenly shifts when he's in the real world,
Tanner, I thought
out
I
of
missed a scene.
nowhere.
I thought I
Yeah,
missed a scene. I was like, what the
out of
fuck is
nowhere,
going
where he's
on?
like, I love the 80s. I love Rubik's Cubes. I love Depeche Mode. Like,
Yeah,
I know all this stuff.
and the only thing that we really see that pushes him to do that is once he learns about the outside world through
He
reading.
scans the
Yeah,
internet.
he watches YouTube and he's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Whoa,
Um,
stuff.
and yeah, no, I found that to be um uh, just an unsatisfying character arc. I mean, it's what you expect. I guess it's what I'm understood to this is what this is gonna be like from the moment.
Mhm.
Okay, the digital can become real, and one of them is a person. I'm like, oh, well, yeah. I
But
mean, well, that's what you do.
but here's my issue. That is the obvious choice of what you do. It's the easiest route to take in writing these characters. But if I can glaze Tron Legacy a little bit, Olivia Wilde in that movie is a program. Like, she is a program basically playing off of Jeff Bridges and Garrett Hedlund, who are humans in the digital world. And she does not do that. She's not like a beep boop boop. What are you? A human male? I don't understand things. She acts like a normal person. It's really interesting and makes her performance and her chemistry with the other actors more compelling than like, I don't understand. Like, she has in that movie, she is like, I love books. I love human literature. Like, look at all this stuff. I'm well read. I can relate to you and things that you're saying and relate to you. Like, I spent all this time with your father in the digital world, and I understand how that is tough for you, Garrett Hedlund. Whereas Jared Leto in this is just like, I'm a robot, so I'm going to tell you what your emotions are, Gretel D, and it's so fucking boring.
Yeah, and that again, that transition happens in an odd way, in that
Hmm.
he's a no nonsense, essentially soldier for the first chunk of the film. He has that
Hmm.
moment where he watches YouTube for the first time and becomes emboldened by the power of human emotion, and
Yeah.
then he 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 starts to just like talk about things. It's like, oh well,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I believe any of these characterization elements
Hmm.
of him being a fan of these things, because we never actually see him come to be a fan of these things. We have to intuit it from
Yeah.
the he scanned shit, but like we never even saw like 80 shit when he was scanning it. So
No, okay, and here's okay. So yeah, I teased this to you in our text
yes,
messages. He likes Depeche Mode. That is a thing that we know
I have
about
no
him.
idea what that is.
It's a
It's a
band from
band.
the
I
80s.
gathered that
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
fucking movie. Yes.
yeah. Um, and I think I just have an inkling because the way that he explains the like he's like, their music of the time was very this and very that, and it was influenced by this, and spoke to these trends in popular culture. I was like, are they doing a American Psycho riff? Is that what this bit is? Because in American Psycho, obviously, he's in that scene when Christian Bale is explaining Huey Lewis in the news in that fashion. So I'm like, is that what this meta joke is?
I mean,
I
it's
don't
an
know.
interesting theory.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just something that
Yeah.
occurred to me the second time that he's saying this too, who we should probably talk about next. Probably the last big character in the movie to talk about, Jeff
Tanner,
Bridges.
take that
Yeah.
back.
Oh, I'm
Big
sorry.
character in this movie. He's in
Oh,
like
sorry. Yeah, big character.
85 seconds of this fucking movie, and he
I
does
had I had a
absolutely nothing.
I told my coworkers that I was going to go see this movie, and today they asked me, it was like, The first question that one of them asked me was, "How much is Jeff Bridges in the movie?" More than 2 minutes. I was like, probably more than 2 minutes, but less than five for sure.
I would say significantly less than five.
Yeah.
Because here's what's so awkward about how this movie is paced is that
Hmm.
we hit this third act break, and then the movie suddenly juggles like three plot lines, four plot
Yeah.
lines,
Yeah.
and it totally halts any momentum any given scene is having to just
Hmm.
cut to a different place and a different characters and
It is.
different tone.
There's a cut in
Mhm.
this that is almost comedic
Yeah,
in the because it's like it's fucking Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, blam blam, blah, like action real world, and then it cuts to like blam, like harmonic 80s or grid 1.0. Jared Leto and Jeff Bridges like, hey man, what's going on? Let's walk over here now to this beam. Like that was like, is that purposefully funny? Because it was, and I hope it
yeah.
was
No, I think it's
purposeful.
just they have these storylines that they have to do, and they don't know how to piece them together. I think that
Hmm.
I think most of this first part of this movie is boring. I think the last section of this movie is just jarring because it's cutting
Yeah.
between all these tones and places, and you can't ever settle into one tone or one sequence because
Hmm.
not only that, we also have to keep cutting back to Evan Peters being like sad.
Tap, 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 tap.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah,
like
because his mom gets killed by Jodie Turner Smith, who I will say, if I can say one nice thing about this movie, I think Jodie Turner Smith is kind of good in this
yeah,
movie. Like, obviously, she doesn't have a
decent
lot to
presence.
do,
Yeah,
but she's basically there to like stand around and look cool and aura farm. And I was like, she's doing that pretty well. I would
yeah,
add.
but I bet to a writing standpoint,
Yeah,
incredibly weak fucking character, incredibly
of
fucking
course.
weak,
Yeah,
like just absolutely
Athena.
nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah, and then yeah, she kills his mom because she's committed to the program, to the guidance, the
She is committed to the order that Evan Peters gave her, which is get the permanence program or the permanence code out of Greta Lee's head by any means necessary,
yeah.
even if that means killing Gillian Anderson and like
Killing
going
Gillian
against
Anderson because Gillian Anderson is walking slowly and nonchalantly up to a
yeah,
keyboard.
or like printing a
She
what is it?
could just do this. She could put her hand on her chest. She could hold
Mhm,
a fucking Tron ring at her menacingly,
mhm.
and the mom would be like, "Whoa!" Like
Yeah,
you don't have to stab her in the chest. It goes all the way in, and then
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
lightly chars the shirt because you can't
Well,
like
yeah, this is
if you
PG-13.
if you have a something that is like ostensibly a circular lightsaber that
Uh-huh.
plunges deep into like half of your body,
Uh-huh.
your guts are coming out. But this
Yeah,
movie does
you're
nothing with
spilling.
that. Like I'm like
Yeah.
I don't even believe you're hurt.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Tucker, anything else about this? Oh, I said I like Jodie Turner Smith. I like the Nine Inch Nails
Yeah,
soundtrack. I
it's fine.
mean, it's good music, but I will say also totally incongruous with a lot of this movie.
Mm.
Like, you close your eyes and you can just imagine a way cooler and better movie, and then you open your eyes and you're like, oh, like the actual direction of the action on screen is
Yeah,
really lame.
yeah. The last thing I'll say is just talking about the action. Um, I think the way they use the like hard light constructs
Yeah.
it can be pretty cool. I like
Yeah,
the like
there's a couple sequences that I'm
I
like,
like
this is working.
the dual sided like staff that's got like
Yeah,
twirly version like it's making like hard light
yeah,
things that
that
are
hard light trail.
yeah, that's pretty
Hmm.
cool. I like the like jetpacky ones that have four that and it like traps the
Yeah,
wings of the plane. Like, oh, that's kind of cool.
yeah,
Um I like these like missiles, heat-seeking missile ones that are like drawing trails around the city. I'm like, okay, that's some pretty good imagery, like going up in the sky, all of these red
yeah.
trails. It those moments make me see the idea of this movie as something to really be visually interesting. But for the
Hmm.
most part, this movie is either like could be uh, uh, um could be like a car commercial where it's just like really drab, bland like offices and stuff, or it's
Uh-huh.
just red. Just the reddest red that ever
It's real
existed.
red.
Everything
Hmm.
is fucking red.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think either of those are particularly compelling. It's like, okay, well, I've never seen a movie as red as this in these areas that are this
Hmm.
red. But like, maybe there's a reason why movies don't pick their color palette as solely fucking different shades of red and like
Uh-huh.
glass panes. I don't know. Um, The aesthetic of this movie, I'm like partially warm on, but like
Yeah.
most of it just does not live up to the potential that is
When
there.
Yeah, what this is, I think this is the last kind thing I have to say about this movie. It's related to what you're kind of talking about. There is some action sequences where I'm like, okay, this is kind of working for me. Specifically when it's Greta Lee and Jared Leto doing like the race through the city, basically. When Jared Leto is still a bad guy,
Sure.
and she gets on the light
Oh,
cycle for the
sure.
first
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like, okay, this sequence is pretty good. It's pretty
Yeah.
good, I think. But then that ends, and but then again, like we get to but it's only like really cool when you're like watching the camera, like the bird's eye view of like the city streets being the grid or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, that's kind of neat. I will give it that. But again, I just wanna put a button on this that like if you are a fan of Tron, I guess you can go to this and be like, it's a new Tron. I haven't gotten a new Tron in 15 years.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like, I think it just makes it all less interesting. Putting it in the real world is kind of less interesting. The characterization of the programs is so milquetoast and boring and bland and different than what we have done in the past. Even in the 82 Tron. Again, I just
No,
watched
no,
this
Tanner.
recently. 80
Evan Peters made Ares though, so this is a different kind of program.
I mean,
And
I guess
he
so.
also made Cameron Monaghan, who's in this movie for
Oh
one
yeah.
frame.
So yeah, I guess technically it is also a different grid than the
Yeah.
grids of the first two movies.
Yes.
But again,
Because like
I just
different
go back
server
to like,
farms are different grids or something.
yeah.
I don't know.
But hey, that doesn't excuse your characters being boring.
That
Like
that is true, Tanner.
in the first two movies, they are people. They talk like people.
Yeah.
Like there's some like comedic stuff in the first one of them like, I'm an accounting software. What's going on, man? And like, but it's like, okay, that is a program, but he's still like talking relatably as someone who is vaguely human.
Hmm.
Okay. It's just so boring and easy in Tron Ares. I
Yeah.
don't know. There was maybe one other thing I want. Oh, hey, there's a mid credit scene on this one. Well, and a sequel tease, I might add, to at the end, because Jared Leto becomes a real boy, and he is going to go find Olivia Wilde, who is another program from Tron Legacy, who is living in the real world. That's never gonna fucking happen. Are you kidding? Are you shitting me?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they want to do with this.
Uh
It's
huh.
weird. Like is the idea presumably like as you're writing this film that this is going to be like a new trilogy that like ties everything together?
Yeah. I think that movie is also kind of weirdly embarrassed of Tron Legacy. Like it hardly touches on any Tron Legacy stuff. It's like, yeah, Kevin Flynn's son exists somewhere. He's gone though. He disappeared too. And Olivia Wilde is around, but again, it mostly pays homage to stuff from the original Tron from 1982, such as when Evan Peters escapes the police at the end of this movie, he scans himself into the grid, he picks up his own little identity disc, and he turns into Sark from the first movie, who was played by, or who is technically his grandfather's character, or program double, or whatever. Like he gets
Yay.
the help or whatever. Yeah.
Yay.
Like, aren't we all excited for that? Wow.
Nah, I don't know. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird. Um it's also just odd because I think this is really the final overarching point of this movie. It's
Yeah.
odd to watch this film that has like a surprisingly optimistic viewpoint on AI in the
Yeah.
current moment. Um, I don't know how I feel about it. I just think that it feels it feels like I'm watching a movie from the 80s where it's like Short Circuit or something where it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, isn't
Aren't
technology amazing?" and like
cool? Yeah.
isn't technology amazing and will be our friends? And it's
Yeah.
like I think we're like 45 years past that, to be honest.
We especially in the year of our Lord, the big 25, we are well past the can AI be my friend? At least we should be. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess culturally maybe some of us are still lagging behind on
Maybe,
that point.
maybe, and maybe that's
Yeah.
who Disney's speaking to. But here's the
Yeah.
thing: it's like, well, this is what's so weird about it, and why it feels
Mhm.
asynchronous from the current moment. This is not what AI is to the modern world anymore. AI is
No.
something that generates things that that builds upon like elements of society and culture. or like remixes them, things like that. Not like fucking iRobot.
Yeah, not yet. Anyway, I mean, I think we maybe are underestimating the number of people because there are a lot of them who like talk to Chat
Oh no,
GPT.
that's fair. You know what? That is
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah.
well, they're
I
like
try not
Evan.
to think about those people.
They're Evan Peters tick tacking and boom slamming that enter key. You
Yeah,
know.
but to how boring Evan Peters is, the fact
Yeah.
that he's just like having these text conversations on like old ass terminal graphics, basically
Yeah. Yeah.
with Ares, I'm like, this has no sauce. This has no fucking
Yeah.
raise.
No
This is
sauce.
boring as
I
hell.
mean, yeah. I mean, say what you will, but especially for the 80s and even in the 2010s, the previous two installments of Tron had the sauce. This is no sauce. I mean, down to casting again. How crazy is it that that we're casting Jared Leto as our like action movie leading man? What the hell, man? And I understand that apparently it's like because he was like signed, there was a contractual agreement from like years ago that he was going to do this, and so that just got grandfathered in. But goddamn, dude.
Yeah, it's not like Disney couldn't find a way out of that. You could have. You fucking
Yeah,
could
they
have.
could have. They could have easily, easily.
I don't know, man.
Anyway,
Yeah, 3 out of 10. I think this movie
3 out of 10 for me too.
has just nothing going for it. I think
Yeah.
that some cool visuals and a decent and a good score are like the only things that you can really take from it. And
Hmm.
all I'm gonna remember about this movie is like vaguely who the cast was and that it was fucking red. Like that's just the that's the only things I'm gonna recall.
That
From
seems to
it.
be that seems to be the marketing is that the here's Jared Leto, here's Greta Lee, and it's red.
Yeah, yeah, but also like I was not aware that Greta Lee was going to be
Yeah.
like the driving protagonist of this film.
I guess I was thankfully I was surprised a little bit that it wasn't all Jared Leto
I
all the time.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So, hey, that's the silver lining, I guess. That and a new Nine Inch Nails album. So,
Yeah.
there you have it,
All right.
folks.
Well, thanks for watching. Don't go see it. Come on, guys.
Don't go see this.
Come on,
Yeah.
guys. Don't for whatever reason make this a fucking $600 movie, $600 million grossing film. Please, please, please do not do that.
Yeah, yeah.
God.